Okay, it looks like we're live again. Apologies for me just staring at the screen. I should have done the live soon thing rather than getting everything kind of going like that. Big, true if big. True if big. Let's make sure the notifications is working. The notifications worked for the second stream start. Okay. Shout out to the Discord bot. We in it. Alright, so, for those of you watching the VOD, we are doing two things here. We are playing a little bit of Hail Columbia in a very casual way. We are not brother min-maxing. We are just vibing and moving and bobbing and weaving and expanding construction. Oh no. Just trying to remember all the states. I think Michigan's good. Illinois is good. Oh, that is way too much construction. Just kidding. We're gonna blast. And then we are back here. Maybe we should use the restroom? We should have done the starting soon thing. Giving ourselves like a 5-minute break. Oh well. Andrew Jackson's time is over. We get Daniel Webster. Pretty sure he gets killed by events frequently. What's this? He's got a unique character trait. Hail Columbia. Anti-expansionist. That's actually not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all. This is way too much construction. Let's actually just pull this back a little bit here. Universal suffrage is going to go a little bit better now. Make mortar great again. Test 1, 2, 3. Looks like people are back in. Or are they not? I think we're getting the people back in. The people are returning to the chat. The world is healing. Maybe if we stare at Pennsylvania hard enough, we'll be able to channel our energy for Kamala. I don't know. I don't know. We probably have to... I think this is gonna... Yeah, okay, that's fine. We're probably gonna have to encourage migration and it's the stupidest thing ever, but West Virginia can never get enough people. They do have the wood bonus, so we're cool with that. But West Virginia just never has enough people. Never, ever, ever. Gotta encourage migration. Did they change this bonus? Is this bonus better or worse? Hardwood and logging industry throughput. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that, chat. What is it in vanilla? 15% logging hardwood output? Output's probably better. Marco, thank you for the follow. Big nice. Would be good if they added some of the stuff to the base game. I mean, uncolonized land to be more historically accurate. I think they will when they rework the USA. I think they will take a big page out of Hail Columbia's book. No, I think Kamala's toast. This country loves the patriarchy. Come on, Gene. A little bit rough. Loves is maybe not the right word. Tolerates, probably. Or is indifferent. Or, well, it's like, slightly polarized. Violent suppression in Pennsylvania to make them vote, not like this. You really think Kamala is just full toasted, though? Let's take a look at the map. Do we think Kamala is full toasted? Well, I mean, it comes down to this. Is her biscuit buttered? And there's a couple counties. I mean, she has maybe another 60K to 80K voters here. But yeah, I mean, proportionally, she has a huge advantage here in Philadelphia, but it's already 67% in. It's not that far behind the baseline counted, and now she's behind by 4%. So, I mean, if she loses Pennsylvania, her biscuit's buttered. It's the red wave. We'll get the blue wave later on. Well, the thing is down ballot, pretty sure Republicans are going to gain seats, and so they're going to control the House, the Senate, and the executive if they do win. She's losing Wisconsin. She needs all three of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. She's losing Wisconsin, too. Let's take a look. Do we know if she's disproportionately heavily counted or undercounted in places where she's winning? 95% counted. She doesn't have a big lead there. She has a big lead there. Only 21% counted. That's not going to recover the margin, though. She needs about 60,000 votes. So only half of Milwaukee is counted. But, yeah, I mean, her biscuit might be buttered. Ah, luckily I hedged my bets. I did put money on Kamala, but I also put a decent amount of money on just Democrats win the popular vote to try and hedge it. Center County, Pennsylvania is where I used to live. That's where Penn State is. Blue in 2016, blue in 2020. Them going red is real fucking bad sign. Center County. There's a lot of the vote out in Wisconsin, but it'll still be very close. The Democrats are getting cooked. It does seem to be like that. Do you really need pops in West Virginia? What does West Virginia have that Kentucky doesn't? Well, West Virginia has a lot of coal and iron, and so it feels bad to just kind of waste it. Like, they have really good resources, but the problem is they generally get underpopulated, and then it's hard to swing pop there, and it just, like, feels pretty bad. But, her goose may be cooked. Biden's gonna be so mad. He's gonna be like, I stepped aside for this. He's gonna be pissed. Winning Michigan, but... yeah, I mean, that observation that the place that went in 2016 and 2020 is now... although, if it's a college state... well, if young voters are turning out more for Trump, then that's like... that's just bad, right? New York Times thinks there's about a 90% chance Trump wins. Yeah. No, I mean, it's not looking good, because it's close in, like, several must-win states, right? If she's must-win Wisconsin, must-win Pennsylvania, I mean, if she somehow got North Carolina, like, if she somehow got some of these, then maybe, but a lot of the count's already in. Like, 87%'s counted. I don't, she needs some of these places where she has a huge advantage to be behind the state average count, so whatever percent counted in these places where she has a big advantage, like here for example, but this is 89%, so that means it's overcounted, so that's bad if you're a Kamala fan. If you're a Trump fan, it's excellent, but yeah, I mean, it looks kind of, South Carolina looks kind of fully cooked. Georgia, some of these weren't very well counted yet. But Georgia's all at 91%. 2-point difference. Shiny, did you vote today? I voted, but not on this day. I mailed in. Biden would have flopped Warriors. I agree. He's still gonna be mad. I posted just before you switch threads, but when you're a member of a community that has that many considered part of the enemy within, then who is in charge does matter. If it's a Republican trifecta, then it's going to be a dicey 4 years ahead. I mean, we'll see how this shakes out. I think Democrats overproject cataclysm in a scenario like this. You know, 2 streams one day, were eating good today. Had to restart because the other one was going to go over in terms of time. Although maybe we didn't. If Kamala gets cooked within the next hour, we didn't even need to restart. Which is kind of looking like it. I don't know, boys. I don't know. These have already been overcounted. These are undercounted. 100% needs to win Pennsylvania. We did eat a lot of freedom on stream, though, Tarkus. That is something. We might be a lot closer to half the country being upset. You know what would be really funny, though? If Kamala went on stage right now and just said, "We won the election. We won it." I think the massive crowds holding up a sign that says "mass deportation now" is a pretty good bellwether of the next 4 years. Oh, mass deportation, like, the actual implementation will be so much less popular than, like, the idea of it. Like, if tariffs and mass deportation actually get implemented, like, immediately, like, actually, that's gonna, like, be really, really super bad for the economy. Especially the tariffs one. But mass deportation, if you suddenly have just vast swaths of industries that just don't have any workers in them. Trump about to win the popular vote? Is he really winning on the popular vote? Oh, I'm gonna lose so much money if he's winning the popular vote. Is he actually winning the popular vote? Well, California hasn't. The West Coast is like a huge percentage of the vote. So, like, I mean, so far he has 52% of the popular. Results explainer. Thanks, bro. 270 to win. Yeah, I think if I scroll up, you guys can see this. Minnesota's blue. Not any. It's only 47% counted so far. It's with California. You're at 91. It's looking like a bit of a time, boys. You know what? 100% though. Like, if Trump ends up losing, which I'm guessing it's starting to not look like that. He's gonna pull the "I won the election" bit. The only hope is that when Trump won in 2016, he had the House and the Senate, and they did nothing those 2 years. Same with Bush Jr. had full control of Congress. I mean, we might get a little bit of a special type of whiplash, in the sense that if they implement a lot of these policies, I think things will go real bad real quickly in a way that's going to be much harder to spin. But the thing is like, the echo chambers are so completely split that even if cataclysm happens, basically, with one party fully in charge of everything, it'll still get spun that it's somehow the other side's fault in the respective echo chambers. And this isn't something that's like unique to Republicans, because obviously the way I'm framing it now, it's talking about Republicans. It's the same thing that happened the other way. But I mean, I think the situation is a lot different than 2016. 2016, Trump did not have the same type of full support from the party that he has now and level of momentum. Everyone was moving off of the like never Trump bandwagon, right? And being like, okay, you won the nomination, I guess. And like this, like all the Republicans that remain basically are pretty pro-Trump. I don't know, boys. It's not looking good for that. For this, it's looking okay. Except we're about to have a civil war. Maybe this is the true critique. We're about to have a civil war in Victoria 3. We're just being like, it's fine. No, I think, I don't think the left, if they lose, which is looking like they're gonna lose, is gonna take up arms, so. I also don't think it's, like, as apocalyptic. Well, I mean, like, man, 25% tariffs are gonna be so bad. I feel like that just doesn't get implemented. Then again, Trump did appoint Peter Navarro. God, Peter Navarro's some kind of stupid. Like, I don't have an economics degree, and I can tell that guy is an idiot. We are losing money here, but that's fine. We have a bunch built up, and deficit's okay too. Looks like we're not landing very easy. Let's use some extra stuff. Wonder what proportion of the chat is. I think roughly 3/4 of my viewership are like lean left, but I wonder what percentage of the chat is conservative or liberal. Let's straw poll it. I'm just curious. Because obviously, like, I voted for Kamala. And I obviously seem a little bit angsty. But I'm curious what other people are at. Oh, I'm freaking scroll locked. Trump wins and he deports people, they can come to Australia. The good old Australia, send them to Australia bit. People demanding mass deportation don't just mean anyone not born here, they mean everyone whose parents and grandparents were born here. But like, I think they don't even know what they mean, to be honest. Like, some people are coming from a race perspective, but some people definitely just mean, like, the criminal element and, like, the people who are here illegally, and not, like Juan, who lives down the street and has lived in the United States for 50 years and is, like, a member of the community. And it just isn't getting deported. Like, that's the thing that's, like, gut-wrenching, is there are people who are technically here illegally that have been here over 50% of their life and working in the U.S., and it's, like, those are a category of people I really would not want to see deported. He's presently predicted to win the popular vote? Really? Jesus. Minnesota's blue goes to Michigan, fake American. What are you talking about, Tarkus? Not knowing geography is full American. You got the wrong take here, bud. Full American, not knowing geography. They're saying migrants are doing all the crime but have a lower crime rate than U.S. citizens. Yeah, this is a thing that, like, I'm frustrated with messaging by Democrats is there will be more crime nominally when people enter the country just because of how numbers work. If the crime rate of the new people in the country is lower than whatever the base rate is, you actually become less likely to become the victim of a crime. If the rate is higher, then you become more likely to become the victim of a crime. And so, like, even if more crime nominally is occurring, that is, like, instead of 100,000 crimes, there's 110,000 crimes, you're still less likely to become the victim of a crime, because if you went from having 100 million people to 120 million people, and you went from 100,000 crimes to 110,000 crimes, the number of crimes divided by the number of people is a lower number. You're less likely to become a victim of a crime. And so that's why the talking about migrant crime is so disingenuous in a lot of spots, is because they never talk about crime rates. They just report on one specific really sad instance of a tragic crime, and then they hold it up and they say more crimes are being committed. And yes, nominally more crimes are committed. You go from 100 to 110. But if the base rate isn't higher, it's not actually making you more likely to become a victim of a crime. Trump wall guard postings going up tomorrow, basically. They're saying migrants are doing... Yeah. People are voting for Kamala based on abortion need to know it won't be changed. I think that some of the people that are voting for Kamala based on abortion don't want a national ban, and that's part of why. And so it not changing is part of what they want. Like, they don't want it to get worse. Reddit must be melting down. Oh man, we could check Reddit. Reddit is probably freaking the fuck out. From Italy, Kamala has 192 on Google site. Interesting. Enacting ethno state. Didn't Kennedy leave the race? He wanted to leave the race. He tried to exit after the dropout deadline. Make sure to buy your new PC this year. I will, because I need to write it off. He's not doing the tariffs, but he is passing through a national abortion ban. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I really hope he doesn't do the tariffs. I think the tariff is like... I think the tariffs would just, like, cause a global meltdown. Like, an abortion ban relative to the tariffs seems benign. Although I'm not a fan of an abortion ban. Let's put a couple of these on auto expand as well. Just so we don't have to click as much. And then I think that we're going to do encourage manufacturing in the capital. So we are going to get a little bit slower on the law passing. Welcome to an administration with both J.D. Vance and RFK Jr. That's another thing that, like, I find disturbing about Trump is the level of, like, emphasis he places on nepotism for cabinet positions. People need to be, like, full supporting. I guess we just can't get this landing in yet. Let's do some of this, and then we can declare on Chile. Just so we keep ticking our decay down. Bro, I'm a socialist. Rip, rip the dream if you're a socialist. Some of us are not Americans. Let's see. We have 16 votes for left, 10 votes for... Socialists just vote left. Is classic liberal left or right? I would say it's center left. I've heard the opposite. I thought it was the opposite. Red Tory. We're all commies in Europe by U.S. standards. Yeah, put if you're left on in Europe, put far left. Move up to Kazakhstan. Here, let's It's the exception because Howie's the exception because it attracts people who want to play the mustache man. They are eating the cats. You know what the like crazy thing is that like to me I'm not even like if there was a law like going to like legalize eating dogs and cats I like wouldn't care like relative to a law that's like legalizing eating horses or eating cows. Like the sentiment or the temperament on like a cow and a dog is basically the same. Michigan now Trump again with the blue wall crumbling. 205 to 230 on Google. Oh man, maybe let's switch back to watching that. Because it does seem to be, it's all falling apart, huh? Or it's all come together, depending on your persuasion. Which, currently, you guys are leading left, like far left. And then just a little bit of people on the right. That's okay. We're all friendly here. Democrats fucked up with Kamala. Should have picked JFK Jr. JFK Jr. Should have picked Jimmy. I do not live here, but from my perspective, it's almost impossible for Kamala to win now, even though it's pretty disputed. No, it's looking like she's gonna lose right now. It's looking bad. It's looking Jober. She needs to win Pennsylvania. And to be fair, she probably catches up a little bit in Pennsylvania. But I don't think there's enough outstanding vote, and I don't think her margin's like big enough. But you see here, only 68% is counted in like one of the states she's winning by a really strong margin in, and specifically Philadelphia. She has a really big margin, and not all of it's been counted. But if she doesn't win this, she's toasted. I don't think the party will let him do the tariffs, but they will let him do mass deportation and gut bureaucracy, which is going to cause the biggest recession since 2008. I still don't think that's as bad as if they did the tariffs. But I don't like gutting regulatory industries. I think regulatory industries are really important. And I do think they're just going to get absolutely gutted. As a Canadian, if Trump has 100 supporters, I am one of those supporters. If he has 10 supporters, I am one of those supporters. If he has 1 supporter, I am that supporter. If he has 0 supporters, I am dead. As a Canadian. Liberal equals center left, yeah. Trump was backed by big-time Zionist lobbies this time around. That doesn't surprise me. But Bull Moose Party, yeah, sorry for your cat dog toppings on pizza. No more cat dog toppings on pizza, yeah. I actually wouldn't mind eating horse. Like, I think it's so, like, I've never heard a good argument other than that's just the way our culture is for why it's okay to eat cows but not dogs. Liberals traditionally right-wing economically. The U.S. just got it wrong. It depends on the context. So U.S. is more conservative. Well, it depends what you mean by right and left wing, because one of the problems is like economic right and left, and then like conservative versus liberal like don't match up that well when you relate it to the rest of the world. I just can't about this electoral system. It's outdated AF. Well, I don't like that my vote... I don't like that it all comes down to swing states. I really hate that, but... if Trump wins the popular vote, too, like, if the popular vote, if there's a discrepancy in the popular vote, right, then I think that, and the winner of the electoral thing, college, then I kind of have a problem. If there's not, then I kind of don't care. Mr. President, thank you for the follow. I mean, it's, the thing about democracy is, like, you have to be okay with the outcome even when you lose. Like, and if you're not, then you're, like, a hypocrite. Or not okay. Okay is not the right answer, but you have to still be like, okay, well, this is the process and this is what we all agreed to. By dog food, it's all horse meat? I doubt it in the United States. It's not legal to eat horse. Or at least in California. I don't know if it matters state to state, but it's not legal. We bred dogs to look cute and bred cows to taste good. It seems like a rather marginal distinction. But... it does look... I mean, we could look at the other states too. And to be fair, if she, like... she has to win, like, everything that she's currently losing. Actually, let's see how many points the Donald needs right now. The Donald needs 63 points. Yeah, I mean, Kamala could clean sweep everything, but assuming the Donald gets these two, that's 32. So you'd be at 239. So you need 21. And this is 93% in. And some outlets, I think, have called Georgia and North Carolina already. North Carolina just got called. Okay. Oh, so it's 207 without North Carolina. I thought it was... my bad. I thought Virginia was North Carolina. This is why we should have a democracy where only I can vote. 2 times in 20 years, Republicans won with the minority vote, so maybe it's time. Kind of. I mean, I'm a fan of sticking to what the Constitution says, kind of, more than I am, like, I think if you want to, like, rewrite the entire Constitution, that's kind of like saying you want to have a revolution. Or everyone needs to agree to it. Or, like, 2/3. So, like... I wouldn't be a fan of, if 50% of votes could decide to make the Electoral College go away. I think I like that it's 2/3 or whatever. I can't believe people want more of the orange pant. Yeah. More of the dude. Well, this is kind of what I opened the stream with. Or at least, not this stream, but the part 1. Was that, if you're a Democrat, and I think if you can't see where Republicans are coming from, you probably should consume more Republican perspectives in media and try and work on the ability... because I think the fact that Democrats and Republicans are coming from 2 different sets of facts is just absolutely horrible for America, and I think being able to see where people are coming from is really important. Even if you don't agree with them. Like, I think for the strong argument for Republicans, in addition to a bunch of stuff complaining, like, about liberals in a variety of ways, which I think is, like, much less of a... has much less substance, is, like, cost of living went up by, like, 30%. And wages went up by a rate that is larger than normal, too, but not enough to cover the 30%. And so the fundamental thing is, like, the perspective is it's gotten more expensive to live under Biden. Arizona's crazy close. Yeah, Kamala just needs, like, everything that's, like, left on the map, basically. I simultaneously do and don't think there should be a basic competency test to vote. There are a lot of idiots out there. I wouldn't mind, in principle, I would not mind a meritocracy where you had to be a certain level of intelligence. Practically speaking, I think any implementation of that is going to be problematic in some way. And so I'd just rather have, like, democracy. You have amendments. Yeah, but the amendments are, like, 2/3. Or, like, 3/4. You need a huge amount. GOP has 50 seats for Senate. We could take a look what they've done here. They've gained 2 seats in the Senate and 1 seat in the House. Which, of course, makes sense. They didn't get the red wave last time, but people have calmed down about Roe v. Wade, which I think is the big reason they didn't get the red wave, and now people still be mad about the economy. We see a couple governors swinging Republican. The flip, so Ohio and West Virginia has flipped Republican in terms of the governor. Or wait, in the Senate races. In the House races, we've got the respective, all the flips are the cross-hatched ones. Governors have stayed kind of in the same hands. California, what's my district doing? My district's a little over 50% Kamala. The West has fallen. Long live the West, basically. COVID happened as Biden president, though, which drastically changed the world market, so it's hard to blame the economy on the president. I agree. Which, this is one of the... I agree, but here's where we come back to, like, confirmation bias. If you want to find a narrative that supports your perspective as a Republican, you don't keep looking. And Democrats do it the exact same direction as well. But, like, on this issue, you don't look for the additional information. Well, is it a fair baseline that inflation would be 2%? And it's not a fair baseline because inflation all over the place was way higher as a result of COVID. And so Biden outperformed the baseline of other G8 countries, which, by the way, other G8 countries might also not be a fair baseline. And if you just use that as your metric as a liberal without looking for other metrics, that also might be similarly inappropriate. There may be things that are unique about the United States such that you would expect them to outperform the G8 countries, and outperforming is not necessarily a good performance. And so, like, when you're, like, evaluating information, like, part of it is you just need an electorate that's more willing to go against, like, the partisan hackery and not just 100% every single issue be on the side of their party, and instead be like willing to do digging, and also being willing to ask the question, like, am I wrong about this? Because, like, okay, the Biden should not be expected to have 2% inflation. Hawaii just got called. But at the same time, there was a lot of inflation. What is a reasonable number for what Biden's, like, expectation should be? And, like, I don't have a spectacular answer to that. I know that, like, the 2% is just deeply inappropriate because every other country was experiencing massive inflation. But Canadian and American populations swap when Pierre comes to power. Must have some idiots reason for them being idiots. Well, here's the thing: if you want to have a democracy, sometimes that means you're going to be governed by idiots, right? And that means that you have to try and have proactively a smarter electorate. This is why public education is, like, so important. And, like, but this is also the downside of democracy. You eliminate avenues of ingress to power that are related to corruption and, like, stuff like this when you have a democracy. But you also significantly lower the level of informed that the people making decisions are. You're from Orange County? What city? I'm also from Orange County. I don't want to give my city for narrowing down where I live. I live in Orange County, closer to the coast, though. I'll specify in that one. That way. We need deflation. Disagree. We have an idiot ruler from 2018 to 2022. No deflation. Deflation bad. Deflation is really bad. We do not want deflation. We don't want prices to go back down to where they were. That would be the economic, like, you don't want that. That's really bad. What we want is just purchasing power to go up, like median wage to go up at a rate that exceeds inflation would be what the target you're looking for. Or just productivity to exceed inflation, but ideally you would want median buying power going up. Manage deflation? No, you don't want deflation. You just want you want buying power to increase. So you want median income, basically, to increase at a rate that exceeds inflation in order to correct buying power. Think about how stupid the average person... I love this quote. Think about how stupid the average person is and realize half of them are even dumber than that. George Carlin. But at the same time, your very intention when you pick democracy is to live with this condition and situation. So 209 to 330. Who's calling it that? That's gonna be rough. BBC's not quite calling it that one. He's from whichever town has the loudest cars and planes. True. Yeah, the George Carlin, like, you have to be... Okay, so some people are going to be idiots, but you have to be understanding and trying to see stuff from people's perspective rather than being dismissive, because being dismissive is, like, you're also going to shut down your own mind, and your perspectives are going to get worse if you're dismissive like that. Why deflate when you can just increase purchasing power, basically? The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. Yeah, but it's also true that, like, if Kamala were winning, Republicans would be saying, like, this exact same type of convo, too, and it's, like, it's not quite... It's not quite that straightforward, but that also is the rub. That's why I would prefer some sort of meritocracy. I can't think of a possible way to implement meritocracy that doesn't lead to problems and corruption, though. Go back to radios only. Wages will not rise under Trump. It will be more supply-side bullshit that favors businesses over workers. Oh, I agree. Well, actually, no. I think that wages are going to go up anyways. But Trump might push them down. I think the trajectory, I think, is that wages are starting to... wages are lagging behind the increase in costs, and we're coming up anyways. I don't know if they continue to come up, but I imagine... I imagine they will until something is touched. If you put in a bunch of, like, tariffs, buying power is going to go down. With deflation, wouldn't the state just turn on the money printers? Not if they're trying to achieve... if they were trying to achieve deflation, they wouldn't, but... At least per state, it's a regular popular vote? No, not for every state. Nebraska can split. For example, Nebraska can split its electors. Nebraska has 5 electoral votes. 2 will go to the popular vote winner, and then the other 3 are, like, split proportionally, or based on district, I forget which. Ooh, I love you, journalists. I love you, too. I'm not thrilled with the outcomes of this election so far, but also respectfully, if I don't want a democracy, I can go somewhere else. When people call me dismissive, I just dismiss their opinion. Chad behavior. It's the most enjoyable political discourse I've ever heard. Thank you. My source is the AP. Yeah. I mean, it's looking... I wasn't expecting this. I mean, I went into today thinking Kamala was somewhere between 50 and 55 to win. Which it's still a coin flip-ish. Do you think tariffs will work? It depends what you mean by work. If you make it so that consumer goods or any type of good is more expensive to import, you're going to create more of that industry locally. If your goal is to have more local industry, to some extent tariffs will work. I think instituting 25% tariffs just instantly is just going to shock the economy and be horrific. But if you wanted to slowly turn up tariffs for the purposes of creating more domestic economy, you could do that. The thing is like, if you tariff people, they tend to tariff you back. And so if we tariff China and then China tariffs soybeans for us, that will crush our soybean economy because the majority of our soybean economy, in my understanding, is exports. And so then that portion of our economy that was previously exporting now can't do that. So we're creating new economy in consumer goods and various goods that we were previously importing, and now it's too expensive to import. So this gives room for new industries, but at the same time, industries where we were exporting get killed. And it just creates a lot of volatility, and eventually you could kind of create an economy that's contained within your nation. But generally speaking, comparative advantage leads to more overall consumption, which is more economic ability to consume or economic output effectively, or economic ability to consume on behalf of the nation. So you can't harness comparative advantage if you don't trade. So I think stifling trade to have all your industries be local is a bad thing. Elemental Laptop, thank you for the follow, big nice. But again, it depends what you mean by do tariffs work. I think that you should try and have a more global economy because it creates efficiency, because it allows for more net consumption. Didn't Biden admin keep some of the tariffs from Trump's previous admin? This is my understanding. I don't know the details. I believe this was the Chinese tariffs. And some tariffs you have in place for strategic reasons. So, for example, if you want to tariff... one of the reasons why we subsidize food in the United States is because if we went to war and all the shipping lanes got controlled by someone else, you would want to have local food production. You would want to have local steel production. You don't want to have the inputs for military weapons like chips from Taiwan, for example. You don't want to be dependent on foreign countries, especially countries you view as adversaries for those goods. So tariffing those things specifically makes sense. And also, if someone is price dumping, tariffing them makes sense. So I forget when, but there was a huge subsidy for British steel such that Britain could sell steel in the United States for less than the price it costs to produce steel in the United States, meaning the margin would be negative. And so the U.S. put a tariff on British steel in order to allow the U.S. steel industry to not completely collapse instantly, basically. And the only reason that the steel could be sold so cheaply is because Britain was subsidizing it, because Britain wanted to have a steel industry inside their country for strategic reasons. And so tariffing for a reason like that is different than tariffing for like an economic reason, right? Where you're saying, in the event that we go to war, I want to have this industry domestically. But that's a targeted tariff, not a blanket tariff on all goods. You also tariff, like, when you're trying to hurt a nation for not getting along as part of a greater proportion of the, like, global economy, so, or global ecology, however you want to look at it. So Russia getting tariffed is not trying to improve economic outputs. It's trying to, punish Russia for attacking Ukraine. So the best method for onshoring industries is not tariffs, but subsidies. You can use both. There's reasons for each, as far as I can tell. Subsidies are, like, kind of more expensive. Tariffs pass on the increased price to the consumer, such that the quantity will change. Like a subsidy, the government's going to pay it. Nebraska's one of 2 states that do it, though. Yeah, it's not a lot. Elon's going to fire 90% of the federal government, like Twitter. That'd be a hot mess. I definitely don't want a huge, like, wave of deregulation. I think regulation is there to protect people from companies. And the government tends to be incompetent, but they are also, like, it's the lesser of 2 evils. Generalist living everyone's favorite early 2000s teen drama, Life, Rip, Marissa. Wait, what? Oh, being an OC? Yeah. You felt pretty confident that the blue wall would hold and Kamala would win. Looks like that was a bad take from him. Yeah, I mean, I thought she had a slight edge. To be fair, it's, like, not, like, crazy. And she hasn't lost quite yet, but it's looking pretty bad. On the discussion, from what I think we need to know, the project for the country and how it's implemented, like, if you have private education system, with that intrinsically means you will have a lot of idiots, and that is just one point. There's the internet. Yeah. I think that also the entire education system needs to be, like, reformed for, like, the information and attention economy, and it's, or like, yeah, for the attention economy, and it's like structured now based on like Prussia's system in the early 1900s, and it's just horribly out of date. But like getting a federal revamping of education is like not easy if you were to try and put it in, because a lot of states care about having their own education. Tariffs are just, instead of being better, we're gonna make them worse than us. Yep, this is kind of how it goes. But if you're... They're not a very good way of generating income for the country either. Relative to taxes, I think. But it's specifically if you want to have an industry locally, they like can be effective. Brambleback, thank you for the follow, big nice. Problem with tariffs is they do nothing to incentivize increased productivity in domestic industries protected. They don't increase productivity, but they will... they drive up the prices of the goods such that they will be more profitable. Long term, they become more inefficient because they do not have to compete with overseas competitors. Yeah, this too. But this is like if you want to have an industry, like sometimes if you... So tariffs can be good, specifically if your industry would get erased or completely destroyed. Like, if your guys are going to compete internationally and they can't compete, then they just all shut down and you just lose the industry completely. And so a reason for tariffs is to be able to protect an industry so that it can actually exist, even if it's going to be less efficient, until it can develop economies of scale and scope. You can also have quotas on tariffs, I think, so you could try and introduce some like level of competition. You can bet on tariffs getting reciprocated. Yeah, so like the U.S. will not be able to be a net exporter off the back of the tariffs because they're just going to get tariffed right back. Not unsurprising that Pennsylvania is such a battleground state. People fighting over the Carnegie bonus for the throughput. True. True if big. I mean, Kamala's catching up. It's not like over, it's just Jover. I generally enjoyed watching the stream in your non-hateful attitude. I find it all too common that people on both sides of the conversation are full of animosity on the other side. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that is a huge problem. Not just from like a watching experience. I actually like think that that's like really bad for America. I think that no matter how this turns out today, I think tomorrow is going to be rough. Like even if Kamala wins, like it's still not good. Like the level of like divisiveness in the United States is just it's on a bad trajectory and it's really bad, and people don't want to understand each other. They just want to be in their own bubbles of understanding, and people aren't interested in searching for they aren't interested in breaking out of their confirmation bias bubbles, in order to challenge their own opinions. They don't want to hear from the other side. I mean, the amount of times I talk to a Democrat or a liberal and they're like, I just have no idea why they're like that regarding Republicans. It's just like, that means you're not doing like the work. You can eat steel, let them eat cake, let them eat steel. Even EU and USA limit some things like steel and meat. Yeah, so the stuff like steel and food specifically tend to get protected to some degree. But the U.S. protects really hard on its food industries through subsidies. The U.S. really heavily subsidizes like corn and soybeans. So, yeah. Hey, thank you for the $5. You're awesome. Also looking forward to the next playthrough. Thank you so very much. I'm still catching up on chat quite a bit. Much appreciated, ITZ. Putting tariffs on imports from our allies like Canada and Germany is all the more problematic at a time we need strong allies. Yeah, I think tariffs are a spectacularly bad idea. Like, more than... Well, I mean, I really want the U.S. to keep supporting Ukraine. I think that's going to stop now. But I guess I would... I just think like a 25% tariff on every import to the United States would just collapse the global economy so fast. I think it would just be really bad. And maybe I just don't understand it well enough. But things have supply chains, and you're just throwing wrenches in various points of the supply chains, and you're hoping they're going to sort themselves out in a short time period, and they're not. Steel examples like what we do with ammunition in Vic 3. Yeah, you want to have a little bit local. You actually want to import it and export it, but yeah. The argument against free trade is also workers become a commodity that moves around freely, but people aren't a blank state fungible economic units. They are different races with different ideologies. Yeah, so having more jobs locally, I think tariffs will create more jobs locally, but that's part of why I said it depends what you want the tariff to do, right? Where are you trying to get out of it? Virginia gets called. Georgia's looking red. Don't embargoes and tariffs help your enemy in the long run by making them not reliant on you? Trade is good because it allows your economy to consume more goods because of comparative advantage. Trade can be bad if it prevents you from having industries that you want to have locally, basically. For a variety of reasons. Either that industry is really lucrative industry and you want to be able to build it up. Like, a lot of the colonized areas, especially in the Victorian time period, couldn't build up manufacturing because the exports from the manufacturing companies could produce too cheaply for it to make sense to create that manufacturing to begin with. So then they were stuck with really labor-intensive, resource-oriented industries that in the short term were better economically, but in the long term were bad for growth. And so this is an example of when you would want to have protectionism is so you can gain access to your country having these good industries. Global trade died when US-EU sanctioned Russia. I mean, there's still a lot of trade with Russia, with India and China. If income tax were abolished through high tariffs, do you think it would be worth it to have higher priced goods for not having your salary taxed? Well, income tax is generally progressively taxed, although the implementation is such that maybe it's not progressive, whereas a tariff tax would be flat. So relative to an income tax, it would be more regressive. So it would decrease the purchasing power of people with lower segments of income, which I generally think a more regressive system of taxing is not better. Hey Scrooge, how's it going? We're watching Kamala lose in real time a little bit here. Scared of running tariffs, increasing the already expensive cost of living. Yeah. I feel like someone's going to convince Trump that tariffs are not a good idea. The division is also due to foreign interference. IMHO. No, I 100% agree. And it's not just on the right. Russia amplifies divisive messaging on both the right and the left. Like a lot of the highly aggressive, racial and cultural oriented stuff on the left is propagated by Russian troll factories. And you can look up like this type of information, especially if you Tristan Harris has a podcast that you can look into. They talk about it in some of the episodes there. But anything that's just highly polarizing, so stuff where you're looking at the right as being racist, intolerant, Nazi bigots, like information like that is propagated by Russian troll bots on the left in order to make it more divisive. It gets sent on both sides as well. Like the immigrants are a sickness and like they're vermin, like this type of narratives also get pushed on the right as well. I think Trump sees the world in spheres of influence. He'll let Putin have Europe and America if he can keep his dominance in the Americas. Trump to me just seems very self-interested, more so than thinking of something on a grand scheme. I don't think he thinks in spheres. I think he is a friend. I think he respects Putin and likes Putin, and I find that problematic. I mean, if I could have anyone on the planet just drop dead, it would be Putin. So, I think Georgia's now mathematically impossible for Harris to win. Well, they haven't called it yet. I have a feeling they would call it if that was the case. Also, winner take all, there's no room for third parties, so the rise in polarization happens. Yeah, I think the two-party system is also a problem. I think social media is a huge driver of the problem, though. I had some notes for talking about this type of stuff. Also, moral foundations theory by, I forget the guy's name, and talking about, like, the ethical analysis of this type of stuff. New Vicky update. Hi from Moscow. Hey, Vadim. How's it going? Vicky update will be on the 21st. Not looking forward to the tariffs. I'm not sure if tariffs go in. 2 Russian state media outlets started opposing opinions on the BLM protests. Yeah, basically. Where one is, like, super, like, ACAB, and the other is, like, you know, Summer of Love, whatever. Because they want us to be divided is exactly the thing. Actually, with the Trump win, I wonder what happens to Ukraine. Ukraine gets bent over, unfortunately. I don't think that Ukraine's going to last to 2026. Unless the Europe just picks up all the slack. That's a lot of slack to pick up. Ukraine is done with or without Trump. Yeah, I mean, they are losing ground, but it's also winter, so winter is approaching, so the lines will kind of freeze. And if there was a significant investment, you know, France was talking about sending troops. If there's some sort of a significant investment in Ukraine, maybe Ukraine could start slowing down Russia again. I think that no one kind of gave a shit when North Korea started sending troops is a bit of a problem. Would have been funny if South Korea sent Ukraine troops. I'm just imagining Kamala coping about the potential of winning Georgia. Well, I mean... Let's see, how many... This is 16 points. So, this will be 233. I mean, it's not Jover, but it is, it's looking grim. I mean, it comes down to Pennsylvania a lot still. But if Wisconsin also goes to Trump, so that's 16 plus, what was this, 10? So 26. So that'll bring up to, oh wait, no, that'll bring him up to 233. So it's still a bit of a game. He's also winning Michigan, though. You can't give up all that, I don't think. So Kamala has to win Pennsylvania, which looks bad for her. And 2 of these, all of which she's losing, right? And then also Arizona, which is neck and neck. Oh, Nevada's also going Trump? No, it's barely been counted. Okay, Nevada I think also takes forever. I hope it doesn't come down to Nevada. NATO has no arms factories in Q. Yeah, that is dusted up for Ukraine. New York Times giving Trump 91%, so you're saying there's a chance. What is a North Korean troop even going to do except defect? Well, I mean, they might not even know they're not in Korea anymore. Harris campaigns said they basically said they need the blue wall states. Yeah, this is... I mean, it's mathematically possible, but, like, can't lose Nevada too, right? Nevada only 2% is in. God, I hope it doesn't come down to Nevada. That would be awful. That would take forever. We're gonna be here all night. I hope Ukraine wins, but you have to admit they gave up a hell of a fight against Russians. Well, yeah, I mean, when the war started, I thought that Zelensky was gonna be dead inside 3 days. So I'm from Ukraine, and it feels like I feel like a kid in an "I'm in danger" meme. I'm very sorry. If I was in better shape and I knew how to, like, I've actually considered signing up for the international, like, fighting force in Ukraine, but, like, I don't know how to fire a gun and I'm in terrible shape. I don't even know if I'd be useful, and I also think it's, like, probably a really good way to die. That's not a reason to not sign up, but, like, I think my level of usefulness there would probably be pretty low. Trump does not care about Europe, except for maybe Orban in Hungary. Europe must plan to take care of itself. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is like one thing that is like a pseudo-positive column for like Trump, which is that if Trump gets elected, I think NATO scrambles to get their shit together in like 5 months instead of like relying on the U.S. for everything. And like people should have stuck to the freaking agreement of like everyone puts in 2%. It's like it's stupid for the U.S. to pay like 3% all the time. Well, now it's all on France. Feels bad, man, when France is the one you have to rely on. I mean, we're close here. We're close to full cooked. Right? Maybe we can think this through a little bit differently. God, I can't believe she only has 91 with California already. How do you only have 91? Wait, actually, mathematically, how do you only have 91? 54 plus 28. 70, 82. No, this isn't right. She has more than 91. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So Trump's at... I clicked refresh. Trump's at 230. So he needs 40 more. So... assuming Georgia's lost and Nevada's lost... which I guess I don't know about Nevada, only like 1%'s in, but assuming Georgia's lost, then you can only give up 24 or 23? 22 and still win. I really hope this doesn't come down to faithless electors. But technically you can give up Pennsylvania if you win literally everything else. But I mean, is it undercounted in the states that are Democratic? I don't think so. Doesn't look it. I guess Milwaukee's undercounted. God damn, dude. Yeah, Milwaukee's undercounted. The International Legion's effectiveness is questionable. It's a shit show. This too. But, like, also I'm just, like... I'm super overweight. You're talking about me marching 20 miles in a day? Like, I'm not going to be very good at that. UK is comparable to France. Don't say it, though. Please don't say it. They both work for Israel and not for American interests. Shouldn't vote anymore, honestly. It's a scam. Best is to build up a homestead and keep your family alive during coming revolution. Jesus. France is facing a looming economic crisis. With its aging population, I doubt there'll be a rising military power again. Well, I mean, then... then Europe's gonna... If Europe doesn't want to help Ukraine, I don't think Trump is going to, so then that's the Ukraine's... That's it. You wonder if Trump's gonna win the popular vote? He's currently winning it, but the West Coast is got less votes in, is my understanding. I actually have a decent amount of money on Democrats winning popular votes, so I'd get kind of hosed. It's predicted to win the popular vote by 1 million. New York's Times predicted it. Youch. Yeah, I mean, it really just is the Republicans being ahead on like the singular most important issue overall, which is the economy. I feel like faithless electors would be the straw that broke the camel's back for either party. I do too. That's why I really don't want it to happen. I don't know which I think would be worse, like 10 faithless electors giving it to Kamala or Trump winning. I think faithless electors shouldn't be a thing. I'd probably rather have Trump win. I don't know. I know many people fights in Ukraine, luckily alive and well, advancing. That's good. Wait, did you say you were from Russia? I think you said you were from Russia. No offense, but I do not want Russia to be advancing. But, I would prefer that there were no casualties on either side. Abortion is a bad stance for her to take too. Too divided in the country. She should have focused on his criminal activities. I don't know about that. I think abortion was fine. If you're not rich, Trump is not in your interest. Yeah, I mean, I think that the Republican Party is more the party of, like, corporate hacks, but at the same time, I understand very much how people who are tired of the career politicians and corruption and corporate hackery would want to vote for Donald Trump because he's an outsider. Like, he's a symptom of a dissatisfaction with a system that has pandered to corporate interests for decades. And if this isn't what if you have a hard time understanding why conservatives like Donald Trump, this is a big part of why, and also that all of middle America has gotten, like, fucked by automation and, like, brain drain and the hollowing out of, like, their communities for an extended period of time, and no one gives a shit about them, and the cultural milieu makes fun of, like, people from middle America, and then they, like, the coastal elites or whatever, and, like, they view Trump as a departure from more of the same, and a savior in that regard. Like, the crassness and the vulgarity is not a bug, it's a feature. Because it's a slap in the face of, like, the institutional people. I think her biggest issue was connecting with the blue-collar workers in the Rust Belt. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Biden would have done better here. Yeah, this is looking so bad. Michigan and Wisconsin 4 points behind with 80% counted and 51. I don't know who in Europe would step up, but either the Europeans have to come up with something or they will end up Russian puppets. I mean, there's a decent chance the United States withdraws from NATO. So, I mean, Poland is probably going to proportionally step up a lot because they would be kind of next. Germany, France, if they get serious about returning the saber rattle favor against Putin and be like, if you trigger Article 5, we're going to deploy tactical nukes. I think that's a pretty strong line in the sand. I don't know how that shakes out. Abortion is literally a 50-50 split. That's not good for election chances. I don't think it's a 50-50 split. I think the reason why there was not a red wave in 2022 is because of abortion. She should have stayed on his family and their dealings with Israel and Saudis. The thing is like, as far as information goes, like, the people who are going to be convinced about his criminal past are the people who, at this point, like, nobody who's convincible is not convinced already. Like, it just doesn't. It's like beating the dead horse. You have to approach from a different angle, and you have to say, I understand where you're coming from, and try and empathize. And I think she tried to do that. She, like, said, I grew up in a middle-class family as many times as she possibly could. But I think, beating the dead horse over the criminal activity, I don't think that's the correct strategy. You have to try and empathize and, find a different way to attract the people that are more from Middle America and the Rust Belt and stuff. Crimes aspect didn't seem to work at all. Yeah, I hard stop don't think that highlighting his criminal activity is an effective strategy. The problem with Middle America hollowing out is that the Republicans they elect at the state level do nothing to stop it either. To some extent, I don't know if they can stop it. Like, it's really like a big picture type of problem. Because it's like, it has to do with automation and brain drain, right? People who are really smart tend to move to the coast and not move back. More labor-intensive industries just get replaced by automation, or they get all their jobs sent overseas. Holy War is about to break out. They have it written in their prophecies. Not like this. Republicans have dominated Ohio for most of the last 30 years. Things continue to slide backward for most. Yeah, they still vote for Republicans, yeah. George has been called, boys. Georgia has been called. They need an Asian NATO too. I don't know if there's any... I assume you mean someone to stand up to China, but I don't think there's a way you can kind of put a balance of powers that would balance that out. Is this the Red Mirage, though, because of them counting the election day votes first? No. Early voting wasn't as skewed based on party that it was before. Fast doesn't make the system better, though. I understand the economy, but like we've been here 100 years and we've seen where both forks go down the road. Yeah. Wonder what's going to happen with Taiwan. With Trump, Trump is a little bit more aggressive with dictators that are not white. I don't know. He might just let Xi take it. I have a feeling Xi would not be interested in testing those waters when he can just wait. Like, I think China's going to go for Taiwan eventually. And to be fair, to some extent, I think that that's like an unresolved civil war. Like, in the scheme of rightful claims you have on territory that's like kind of not your own, like I think China has more of a legitimate claim on Taiwan than like the average that, hey, that's mine type of thing. I still think I'd rather see Taiwan be separate and sovereign, but it's a bit closer. Explain the abortion thing this election. Republicans are sweeping. Brandon, like, have you been here? The single most important issue is that the buying power of the median American has gone down. Republicans crushed on that issue. That's the explanation. The issue is so much more important than all the other issues. And, like, Republicans just super overperform on that issue. The election, like, looked... That it was this close when Donald Trump is one of the candidates, in my mind, is a testament to how big an advantage the Republicans had not being the incumbent party when buying power went down by like 30% over the last 4 years. So... She lied about her ethnicity. Her dad was a slave owner in Jamaica. What do you mean? Bro, most of the people who are African and American in the United States, or a lot of them, have ancestors who were slave owners because slaves would get raped by their owners. Like, this is super common for them to have some white in them. That's like a thing. Like, her having white in her or whatever when she's African American and Indian, or I forget what the other one is, I think it's Indian, is not like a contradiction. Trump made all the fine people on Reddit looks down upon, feel seen for the first time in decades. I don't agree with the appraisal of Trump, but I do understand why they feel the way they do. You people in Middle America, I mean, like, I really don't like the jokes that like make fun of like Middle America or the South as being like Hicks and this type of stuff, or a lot of like the mainstream narratives about people from the area. And I think that I think a big part of it's social media and intent, foreign interference to increase polarization, and how social media is just polarizing in general. But I think there's also elements of how people on the coast have just like looked down on Middle America that have made people in Middle America feel resentful, and like the combating hate with hate is not effective. Like, Americans need solidarity. So I mean, I very strongly like disagree with like the worldview, but it's if you don't understand why like a lot of conservatives are the way they are, then I think you could look into it a bit more if you're like more on the liberal spectrum. I think Kamala in general didn't present a clear vision that might convince an undecided voter to vote for her. I don't know, did you watch a lot of the Kamala events? There wasn't too many Kamala events where I thought she did a really poor job. Besides not being Trump, which I don't think is enough. The media has super amplified all the Trump messaging. She talked about other issues. They just like post interview or post debate or post anything. The stuff that got analyzed by the media was not any of her stuff of substance. It was just the stuff on Trump, which is just like insipid on the behalf of the media outlets. Like, she did talk about the other stuff if you like watched the things. They've been counting everything. Trump is just winning. Yeah, I mean, George is flipped. She had bad recognition before, but because whatever she might have done right had to be attributed to Biden, but for re-election until it didn't, and she just had become an unremarkable haste pick in the eyes of the majority. I would have definitely rather Biden step aside a lot longer, or earlier. Kamala would not have been my first choice. At the point in which he stepped aside, she would be my first choice, because infighting is, like, not ideal. Insane how the map can look mostly red, but there could still be a blue win. Yeah, that is super interesting. I mean, it's just because geography isn't votes. Most of the people are in the remaining states, or like the blue states in general. But the Donald needs 24 points, so if he gets Pennsylvania, just any other state will do, basically. And if he doesn't get Pennsylvania, he needs to not get Michigan as well, right? Because that'll 250. No, wait, he can. Yeah, so he needs to not get Pennsylvania. He let Pelosi fly over to Taiwan and almost start a war. Well, are we talking about Biden? Yeah, I mean, I don't like Pelosi. I think that was Biden, though. Your opinions about Trump are very biased, which doesn't suit you as a philosopher. Which, you be more specific if you're going to call me biased on it. I mean, I think that, like, yeah. I have a very negative opinion of Trump, but, like, I don't have, like, a supremely negative opinion of conservatives in general. I would have been relatively fine with Nikki Haley as a candidate. She's a little hawkish, but whatever. Minus 100% chance of Trump letting Taiwan get taken. Taiwan is also Jover. Taiwan has been a legit claim on China, is what you mean. Well, yeah, the unresolved civil war thing works in reverse, but China or Taiwan completely lacks military capability to go for China. What economic points did Trump address? He generally talked about tariffs. But it's a big part of it is, look, you had way more buying power 4 years ago. Brandon, if you're saying that in response to me saying that he wins on the economy. He wins on the economy by talking about inflation and talking about how little buying power people have. And that's like, he didn't supply any plans. He just talked about how much it sucked relative to when he was in office, for the most part. It's the economy, basically. She's Indian and white. She has literally zero African ancestry. They proved her grandma photo was faked. It was another woman. She also lied about her McDonald's job. Well, I don't think there's evidence one way or the other on the McDonald's job, which means she can't verify it, but like, no, I don't think there's any way of proving that she didn't work at McDonald's. Yeah. Research any conspiracy and you will find it. Yeah, well, this is kind of the rub. This is confirmation bias. If you want something to be true, generally you'll keep looking for information until you find something that validates it, and then you'll stop looking for information, which means that you uncritically accept the beliefs of, like, the first thing you see that kind of comports, or, like, you persist in looking for too long until you find something that's maybe a little bit suspect. Kamala isn't even an American. Get out of here, man. I think Harris did the best she could with the time she had. Yeah. I mean, I think it has less to do with time and more to do with, like, relative to 4 years ago, Americans are really hurting. Like, still planning to do Vic 3 tonight. Maybe if we catch up with chat, but chat's been going pretty hard, and we're also, like, this kind of decides it. So, we're kind of watching all the marbles. Biden should have stepped aside in, like, December 2023. I agree. I would have much rather Biden just, like, not announce that he's running for re-election and there just be a normal primary. I'm glad he stepped aside initially. I've never been a fan of Biden, though. Have to go to bed. Thanks for teaching me more on tariffs and deflation. I disagree with you politically, but appreciate the insights. Thank you. Godspeed. Ooh, I wonder what the... What's the poll on where people are leaning? So this is we posted this about an hour ago. In terms of the people in the chat at the time. I suppose we could repost it here if people wanted to re-up their thing. But... this is looking pretty rough for Harris here. If he wins again, he would have defeated the first two potential female presidents. That is true. Baron Trump's loves victory. Make victory great again. Ritually sacrificing my cat to spur a blue shift right now. Oh man, would we trade a cat for Kamala? I don't know, I like my cat. Trump let Pelosi fly over? I don't know if he's allowed to stop her as a U.S. citizen, but... Could have sworn that was Biden. I could be mistaken. He just needs Nevada, Arizona, and any one of the 3 Midwest swing states. Yeah. Or he needs Pennsylvania +1. Your opinions on Trump's foreign policy doesn't really reflect the reality much. That he's going to abandon Ukraine? I don't know, we'll see. I don't like either of the choices at all. Yeah. I was kind of okay with Kamala. Definitely okay relative to Trump. Trump also banned bump stock through executive authority. Huge Second Amendment no-no. I don't think I really care that the bump stock got banned. I mean, I kind of care in some sense for like a weird reason, which is that in general, you shouldn't make something a rule if it can't properly be enforced. You can, like, 3D print a bump stock, so, like, I don't know. Like, it's not that hard to make a bump stock. Will the DNC ever pay a price for losing to Trump twice? Well, I think the DNC is much less to blame than Biden. What game is this? This is watching the end of the election simulator. You mean McDonald's doesn't keep detailed employment records for temp works at a franchise location 40 years ago? Kamala must be lying, basically. You also, like, yeah. There's nothing that proves that she wasn't working at a McDonald's either. But, like, to the extent that she can't verify that she's working at a McDonald's, if you want to be upset over that, you can. But, like, yeah. The NC needs a total reform. There's too much promising young Democrats for the political future. Yeah, I mean, but like a lot of it's just like selling out to like corporate interests and like the old boys club or whatever. I mean, it's the insipid nonsense that makes Trump a popular candidate to begin with, which is that people are tired of career politicians that sell out to corporations, which is why you got Trump in 2016 and was allowed him to maintain popularity. Personally, don't believe Trump will withdraw from NATO or anything that radical. He's at the very least he's going to saber rattle about withdrawing from NATO, but I think he's going to stop aid to Ukraine. I mean, I could eat my shoe on that one, but like, stop allowing Democrats to block Sanders. That might have been the last chance. Yeah, I would have rather had Sanders over Hillary. Where's the far left and far right options on the poll? I guess we could have put more options. We could recreate it. I think most people tend not to put themselves on the far left, far right categories, though. I don't think Trump can legally pull out of NATO, but he can order the military not to mobilize in response to Article 5. I mean, that's analogous, right? Will Senate and House also be majority red? Yes. Or this is the way it's looking. They've gained 2 seats in the Senate and currently have the Senate tied, so they will have a majority if they win the executive, and they've gained 2 seats in the House. Is the center left American center or left of the world center left? All of America is more conservative than the rest of the Western world. The entire world writ large, like the entire Western world, tends to be a little bit more progressive. I had the same viewpoint on how I didn't believe Kamala was doing bad in the campaign, but I see a lot of criticism, mostly from left-wing sources, and the reason you may not see it is because you're more centrist. Just a thought. Maybe. I consume more conservative media in general because I lean left, and so I try and consume primarily conservative outlets for balance reasons. I think that people don't want to think that they lost because they have it wrong on the issues or they misjudged the opponents that they don't like, so blaming Kamala is also convenient to some extent. I mean, I just think that the you have to somehow message properly that the reason that the average American has 40% less buying power isn't Biden's fault. And the thing is people just categorically don't trust you, so I don't know how you are supposed to get that message across. Do you think Walsh was a good VP choice? At the time, I didn't. And then I kind of liked Walsh a little bit, but then I didn't have a very strong opinion on it. I still don't have a strong opinion. I think if she loses Pennsylvania, maybe the guy who was from Pennsylvania would have been a better choice. But if she picked that guy was relatively aggressive about Israel, and I think you just lose Michigan, right? So I don't really know. We'll see pretty much sums up the whole mood in Europe about Trump, and that doesn't instill any form of confidence. Yeah, I think Europe is, I mean, look, if your entire foreign policy is undermined every 4 years by the election in America, then, like, maybe you need to, like, figure something else out. You know, in regards to, like, Europe's security. I personally do not like the level of military spending that the U.S. engages in, considering we have no one that's neighboring that would be remotely likely to invade us. Although the world is more global than, like, Canada and Mexico, I would like to see the U.S. Pull back on military spending. Like, I think they, as a percentage of their GDP, I think they spend, like, 50%, at least 50% more proportionate to the size of their economy than, like, any NATO country. Walsh was fine as VP, but didn't really matter in the election. Yeah. I mean, I think picking someone for Pennsylvania when you have to win Pennsylvania maybe makes more sense. I don't know. Why would you blame Biden? He's just an old man with dementia. I mean, the U.S. outperformed the G8 on inflation, but you might just think that the G8 is not a reasonable comparison. They obviously performed worse than they did historically. I mean, I think COVID's a really ahistoric event. Trump will be president during the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. That is interesting. Also, hard to verify if you've worked at a McDonald's because of franchisees. Yeah. My hope is that, like a biblical punishment of the Democratic Party for the sins of selling blue-collar workers, they'll just probably blame Jill Stein and Russia again. Yeah, I think that looking for someone to blame sits a little bit better than just like being like, you know what, we left Middle America out in the rain a little bit too long, don't you think? And also like, if the Democrats like maybe like chilled out a little bit on the hyper progressive stuff, they could actually win elections. I mean, I don't think to some extent you can point the finger at Jill Stein, I suppose, if you want, but it's not like a non-factor, but it's also like I think the conditions that give rise to Trump as a politician becoming popular are people are tired of like political hacks and career politicians and corporate selling out to corporate interests and like looking down their nose at American type of feeling. And they think that Trump's like the savior in that regard. Just think this all could have been avoided if it would have let Bernie run in 2016. It's like that domino meme. Yeah, I mean, I think Bernie would have beaten Trump. Check out some random Reddit meltdown. Bro, the Redditors are going to be so pissed. We could check out the Redditors. America's far more progressive socially than the rest of the world. Than the rest of the world combined, yes. But not the rest of the West. People, when they ask that question, often have a frame of reference that is not like the rest of the world, but is instead the West. Trump's is the best chance for a left policy and movement to take place. Oh, maybe for a movement, yeah. Simply because people are disincentivized to stay comfortable while he's in office, considering how abundant Bernie appeared after him. I don't know if Bernie appeared after him. Wait, what? Revenge for Peanut. Reddit and mainstream media coping hard. I haven't seen any of the mainstream stuff yet. I also just like hate the designator mainstream media when the media outlet that gets the highest ratings is Fox News. Like Fox News is the mainstream media. I understand what you're referring to when you say mainstream media. I just like, or legacy. When Fox newscasters use the term legacy news, then they're like somehow excluding themselves or mainstream. By an estimate that came out this year, 23 of 32 NATO countries already meet the 2% requirement. Yeah, I mean, they should all be over 2%. U.S. also had some large degree of forced most of the NATO to buy U.S. arms. Lockheed scandal comes to mind. Yeah, that's like a separate type of thing, but yeah. I'm not a fan of the degree to which lobbies... I mean, I guess maybe we could play while we're, like, doing this. I'm not a fan of to what extent lobbies have power. I'm just happy we don't have to hear Kamala's nasal voice any longer. I mean, I guess Trump doesn't exactly make me go to bed or sleep over stuff. What hyper-progressive stuff? Generally speaking, a lot of stuff that is identity politics oriented on and like affirmative action-y doesn't sit very well with median income people. Also being that is like what comes to mind like most immediately, but also the narrative, for example, of defund the police, that it got like so mainstream for like a hot second, like was a problem for in terms of like winning the middle voters. Another big problem, and this is not, in my opinion, the problem of Democrats, is the insane like hyper progressive stuff that gets attributed to being like the mainstream Democratic. So to some extent, this can be emblematic of like the messaging issue and the fact that like the narrative of what Democrats are versus the narrative of what Republicans are that gets painted isn't necessarily representative of those groups by both sides. But like I'm trying to think of specifics that I find especially legitimate. Like, I think some of the gender-affirming stuff before the age of 18 that's irreversible is, like, potentially problematic. Mainly because, like, the data on that is not all out yet, and also in academia, as far as I can tell, the data on that is to some degree getting suppressed. Although, as far as I've seen the data that does get published, it actually shows that the like regret rate is not particularly high. But it's like irreversible. But there's like some hypocrisy on that front as well, though. The people who are against like the gender affirming or like sex change operations before 18 don't have a problem with circumcision, which I kind of think is in a similar boat. Because Minorities says it, or I forget the guy's name exactly how to pronounce it, rather plain in saying that the entire point of circumcision is to blunt pleasure, so... But that starts to be a little bit of a different thing. Identitarian stuff, maybe? Yeah, generally speaking. It's funny that Jill Stein takes votes from the Dems, but the Libertarian candidates don't take any votes from Trump. Is that really the case? INK Zaga, thank you for the follow. If either sides win, there's going to be riots from the others. You're probably right. I don't feel particularly likely to riot, but like I definitely think there's going to be some amount of there's going to be some amount of rioting tonight, I think. I also think the need for the Democrat Party to maintain complete order, maintain the complete and utter status quo of the U.S. military doctrine does not help. I don't see how people could be sold on Tycoon being an outsider. He's outside of being a career politician. We'll put that in for now, but then we're just going to need to blast those ourselves. So... Why couldn't a tycoon have conflicting international interests? I think he does. I'm calling it a night. Okay, Gene. I need to start thinking about contingencies should the Project 25 stuff try to do a reality. Yeah. Good luck. I'm sorry for your loss. To be fair, she hasn't lost yet, but it's not looking good. Not looking forward to another 4 years of Trump, hearing Trump constantly. I mean, MSNBC's and CNN's ratings are going to be a lot better. Not that I anticipate that's something you care about. That's just, their ratings absolutely tanked when Trump stopped being in office. Godspeed, Gene. Trump will mandate something like an Amber Alert every time he tweets. God, that'd be so annoying. Just being forced to listen to him. I doubt that'll happen. Although, to be fair, Musk could implement that on Twitter anytime he wants. Which, that would be really annoying. I don't think the Democratic is progressive at all. Sure, some voters are, but the party doesn't pay lip service to it. Yeah, so... maybe I would need to back up what I say a little bit on that. There's a Republican perception that they're hyper-progressive. Maybe that's a different way of putting it, that the people who are right-leaning, but maybe in the moderate camp and this type of stuff, view Democrats writ large as being hyper-progressive, which has less to do with the Democrats themselves. So my perception on that might be a little bit skewed, but so, like, there's some things that I like hear, like, the Democrats talking about. I'm like, bro, like, this is, like, just kind of insipid. I tend to think that in terms of an axis of oppression that's particularly important, I think class is by far the most important one. No matter which Republican candidate would be next, they will be called racist, fascist, and sexist. I think that's probably accurate. Those hyper-progressive narratives are not pushed by the Republican side. I think they are. Biden did not defund the police at all. Yeah, the issue with Democrats now is that they use scare tactics to get people to hate Trump. I mean, we'll see. I think to some extent you're right, and the narrative that he's going to that there's never going to be another election again, I think that's unlikely. I think it's above 1%, though. I think it's probably under 10. Let me try this. Every election they dangle the issue of abortion, but is revoked during Biden. I mean, Obama tried to get it through. He didn't have enough votes. Like, part of it is you have to win, like, the whole shebang. You have to win the shaboodle to actually pass laws. But it looks like the Republicans are going to win the shaboodle. Rip for Ukraine? Kind of, yeah. Dems should have focused on income issues. Minimum wage hasn't gone up in, 17 years? I mean, they have a platform on those issues. Like, they don't get focused on it all in, like, the narrative when they talk about it. I suppose I can't recall Kamala specifically talking about raising minimum wage. I think that is a platform, though. Of her platform, or as part of her platform. But we'll check back in a little bit to see how the progress is going on Pennsylvania, which probably decides. Yeah, rip Ukraine's probably accurate. I don't know. Trump could surprise me. I try and keep track of the things that I predict, so I know when I get them wrong. But I imagine that he will not continue sending aid to Ukraine. The question to me is whether he'll veto aid packages to Ukraine. But at this point, with the Republicans winning the House and the Senate, and assuming Donald gets the executive, I think those aid packages are kind of going to dry up. I just I don't see it. The biggest corporations support the Democrats. Are the conservatives still the corporate party? Which corporations? I can't think of any. Okay. Okay, let's pull up. Well, so first of all, I can think of Twitter, but yeah. Bruh, I don't want to dox my email. Fuck, man. I hate the auto login stuff when I'm streaming, because it wants me to log in, but I don't want to show you guys my email address. All right. You look at top contributors, right, by party to Republicans. We have 172 million, 137 million, 136 million. Musk, the only like kind of recognizable name on here, 133. 101, 96, 59, 39, 35, 34. Top contributors to Democrats: 43, 38, 31, 30, 26, 22, 19, 14, 13, 12. By far the biggest and richest are donating to Republicans. So, I mean, I guess it depends to some degree how you want to analyze it. But the very wealthiest people, 210 to 417 at the moment, yeah. Kamala had to be careful what she talked about, for example, minimum wage, because she was courting Republican voters. Yeah, I mean, she was definitely trying to... She was running from the center, as far as we could tell. Let's maybe take a look at the map, because we're going to talk for a second. But she was running from the center, so I think that's to some extent it's stuff, but to some extent, like, she doesn't have to please a lot of the progressives. She has to just make it so they come out and vote. She doesn't have to convince them of anything. NATO doesn't have the industry to fight Russia. They're going to have to figure that out in the next few months. In 2021, 15 an hour was all I heard from USA, but then stuff happened and it became all about Republicans versus gender-neutral bathrooms. Yeah. I think there's too much focus on both sides on, like, well, like, the trans discussion is, like, hard to unpack because it's 4 simultaneous discussions. There's, like, this biological argument, right? There's 2, there's, like, this social presenting and, rights argument, and then 3rd, there's, like, a linguistic type of discussion, and then 4th, there's the discussion of what of these discussions is worth paying attention, what is critically most important, and how much is the entire discussion, like, worth paying attention. And when Democrats and Republicans talk about, like, trans rights, they just completely talk past each other, because Democrats are entirely focused on the social presenting and rights argument, which, to be fair, I think is the most important one. And then conservatives are focused on, the biological argument or discussion writ large, like talking about sports and bathrooms, rather than, like, civil rights and, like, this type of stuff, which is what Democrats more focus on in the terms of the conversation. And then both, to some extent, focus on the language argument, but, like, fundamentally, like, the way people use the words of the genders has changed, and it's, like, it's stupid to suggest that it's, like, or I think it's silly to suggest that it's not, like, something that has changed over time and just, like, always been a thing, and, like, I think the Democrats, to some extent, do that, but then, like, the Republicans act like it's not changing, and it, like, boy, it is, and if everyone uses the word different, then the word means something different now. That's how language works. Russia has half the GDP of France, and unfortunately total disregard for their pops, so 1/3 to half of this works directly for the war. I read a week ago that NATO has, like, 2/3 of the ammunition production. Jesus. Ukraine would be a European issue, yeah. Either the EU will come together and fund Ukraine, or it won't. That's kind of what I think. I mean, Trump might surprise me. He's certainly surprised me in the past, to be fair. It's Jover, rip Gaza as well. Yeah, I mean, Gaza's also gonna get... unless Biden does something in the next couple months, nobody's gonna tell Bibi to slow down, or Trump's not gonna tell Bibi to slow down. Real talk, tons of people, including black people, don't want a woman president, even if they're mixed. Yikes. Democrats did nothing about the Republicans' Something about the Republicans will do nothing about. Wait, what? Oh, regarding Gaza, yeah, I mean, I think it's possible that Biden leans on Netanyahu after the election, but I kind of think he will, but I don't think he will lean on him super hard. More just threaten to withdraw aid and maybe start. But what are the odds Biden vetoes an aid package because of what Israel's doing? I don't know. I think it's possible. Male and female biological terms, man and women, sociological. Just to agree already that there may be female men, raise your wages, change electoral system to something with 3+ parties. It'll be the greatest country ever. I'm not even sure which tree particularly you're barking up right now. But let's take a look at Pennsylvania. That's not Pennsylvania. Oh, 93% counted. This looks super over, doesn't it? There's like... This is the last thing. Philadelphia is the last little tidbit. To be fair, the counted numbers are under the average. So it's gonna keep swinging Kamala's way, but is she gonna somehow find 120,000 votes? Well, I guess she might. Bruh. But only if like everything's like nearly fully reported everywhere else. Well, it's like 95% everywhere else. Bro. What does it mean to be a female man? You want the linguistic argument or the biological argument? Like, one of the interesting things is there are people with like a Y chromosome who have gotten pregnant. So like even the biological categories are not like immutable and discrete. But they generally hold true. Going against Israel in the U.S. is political suicide. Yeah, but Biden's already dead. The man who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative. Like Biden doesn't have to worry about it re-election. It's over for Biden, right? So to the extent that he cares about anything, it's just holding out for today to give Kamala the best chance possible. But after this, Biden's just like, you know, Biden might not even live another couple of years. Like, he really is in a position to not give a shit. He might just be like, fuck it, we ball. And, like, just be like, you know what, BB? Because in private conversations, he's been super aggressive about not liking Netanyahu. IMO, kids are getting fucked over by these activist health professionals prescribing affirmation care instead of therapy and trying to stop them from having dysmorphia. It's complicated because, like, the causes look not just biological, but also social, having gender dysmorphia, but it's also, like, it's also just, like, legitimately something that, like, if you have gender dysphoria, you have it. It's not, like, not a thing, but it is crazy close. I am kind of the opinion that more studies need to be done, and some of the studies are being repressed in regards to what the outcomes are for people under the age of 18. And so under the age of 18 specifically bothers me. However, over 18, I really don't give a shit what people do with their bodies. Like, categorically, zero cares. But yeah, Philadelphia, I mean, like, if Kamala gets another 25% of the marginal difference, right? Here, this is 120,000. Actually, Kamala could do this. Because right now, she has, like, a differential of, what, 360,000? And we're expecting that to increase by roughly 25%. So that's, like, 90K. But then she's got this and this as well. Oh, it's just this. Oh, but this too. She's short, but she's not super short, it looks like. It looks like actually possible. I'm gonna whip out the calculator. Yeah, I mean, it looks... I hope we get to find out tonight. I like how Ukraine is a European issue, but the gas problem was only because of Joe Biden. The gas problem? Are you talking about the destruction of the pipeline? I don't think it'll be enough to get PA blue again. I mean... The margin here is there are a quarter of these votes left to be counted, and 360 is the difference. So 90K from this one district. Oh, I thought she needed 120K. She needs 220K. Yeah, this is just isn't doable. Never mind. They could barely win PA if everything goes right. Yeah, I don't know. I misread the total number in PA. I thought it was 120 difference, not 220. Is Biden going to do anything crazy? Just woke up. How's the election going? It's looking like Trump's gonna win. Kamala needs to basically sweep everything that's left. In particular, we're watching Pennsylvania, because if Pennsylvania goes, Kamala's lost. The places that still have yet to report are overwhelmingly Kamala, but the margin of 220 might just be too much to overcome with the amount of vote outstanding. Biden won't have much power internationally after a Trump win. Yeah, but he can veto support. PA was just called for Trump. Yeah. Israel fucked Biden over by bombing multiple countries weeks before the election. I don't think that helps, yeah. Alright, Scrooge. Good night, good night. Biden's gonna fuck it we ball and become a dictator would be funny AF, but sadly he's too far gone with the dementia. Yeah. I don't think he's completely... I think it's actually more likely to be Parkinson's, to be honest, but... Parkinson's also just... If I recall correctly, Parkinson's has a neurodegenerative element, but, like, part of the vacant expression is, like, actually just, like... I was talking about it with a doctor, and he just thinks that Biden has Parkinson's, which makes him, like, look more vacant than he actually is, but I also think he is partially vacant. I agree with under and over 18, yeah. Oop, gender politics, I'm out, night y'all, basically. No, like, it's a sensitive topic, I probably just shouldn't discuss it. I'm surprised he's gonna win. I'm a little surprised too. I thought it was close to 50-50, but, I will be shocked if he wins the popular vote, yeah. No way Trump wins the electoral and popular vote if Democrats ran a real primary, even with the Biden delay. I don't know. I think at the time Biden stepped down, the best chance is Kamala. I think you have a better chance if Biden gets out of the way earlier. But if PA gets called, which someone other than BBC has called it for Trump, then we almost have half of America really pissed. At which point we will end the stream. Worst case, Biden can always call a drone strike on Mar-a-Lago. I mean, technically speaking, according to the Supreme Court, if he does it in his professional capacity, it's not against the law. Yeah. She needs to close the 100K gap. I think it's fair to assume that's over. No, yeah, I thought that this was a 100K gap, not a 200K gap. Is NATO done? Maybe. I don't know. The real question is there were a lot of people holding Trump back in a lot of situations, and I don't know if those same types of people are going to be around for the second Trump presidency. If there are people to, like, hold Trump back, I think he doesn't pull out of NATO. But if there aren't, I think he tries to. I don't know. Biden coup tomorrow, trust. Biden says he won the election. Can you imagine? Biden's like, I won the election, guys. Lloyd69, thank you for the follow, big nice. Fox called Pennsylvania, I think. Yeah. Not gonna lie. Well, I mean, I don't think there's enough outstanding votes. Like, Like, the ratio of votes she needs with just 7% outstanding is, like, really a lot. So it is looking like Trump. It's crazy how there's no Democratic primary. Really sleepwalked into that loss. I mean, I thought Biden probably should have gotten out of the way a while back. The debate specifically was very disturbing. I think once after you're after the debate, I think waiting until after the Republican primaries makes a lot of sense. Dark Brandon returns. We might see a Dark Brandon when he's just like doesn't care. You're my favorite Vic 3 YouTuber. Thank you so very much. So Senator's Republican, House is probably going to be Republican, SCOTUS is Republican, and Trump won. That's a lot. Yeah. That is a lot. They will be able to do what they will. Especially if they get a fat margin in the House. I mean, the House isn't decided yet, but I assume they win the House. They've already gained seats. If they have a really small margin in the House, there's probably still going to be infighting, because a lot of the House Republicans, like, just don't like each other. And so... But... Yeah, the Republicans are going to get shot at implementing what they want. Don't think NATO would disband if US left? It probably wouldn't. It would be significantly weaker. It's all part of Mess's plan to be the appointed president, despite being born in South Africa. Is he eligible to become president if he is, like, in the line of succession? How does that work? Trump won after the failed shooting attempt. I think the shooting attempt helped him. The rest of NATO is stronger than the US by a lot. Wait, what? I don't know if the rest of NATO has more military power. Bernie Sanders did win Congress. Or Obamacare too. We'll see. I think repealing Obamacare... Well, he wanted to repeal Obamacare. So... Trump will not do anything stupid that can put the global dominance of US in danger. For me, that is logical. I think Trump had a lot of people holding him back in his first term that aren't going to be there, so this is a little bit concerning for me. But he might have other people like holding him back from doing some stuff. We'll see. Can't believe Dems lost the popular vote. I think there's a lot of counts still out from California, so in terms of the popular vote, only half the votes have been counted. So porn's banned, overtime's gone, and we're invading Mexico, basically. We get Orange Man, not like this. Doesn't Biden have to retract citizenship have a right to retract citizenship from a person? I don't know if the president has that ability. DOJ might. Biden's great game, coup the government. Can you imagine? January 6th, he's like, I'm not leaving. If US leave NATO, maybe Russia will be like, chat, is this happening? Chat, is this real? Chat, it's time to play the USSR music. Will Trump win? Yeah. It's looking that way. It's still theoretically possible, but that theory is, hold on by a prayer. And, considering Trump is looking pretty good in Wisconsin and Michigan as well, it's looking a little Jover. God, none of these. 11,000. Call your local DOJ. PA called on Fox. I think Fox is likely to pull the trigger slightly early, but, like, also, let's call it slightly early. I mean, we gotta, yeah. I guess the impact of the attempt on his life was not as big as one may think. I guess we need to dig deeper in order to properly understand how the story is more convincing. I think the assassination attempt helps him. Kamala is the one to certify the electors. I don't think she's gonna not certify. I think what's spooky now is if people go faithless. I really don't want that to happen. What if Kamala goes beast mode and refuses to certify? I think that would be bad. Kamala's margins to win are so low without Pennsylvania. Yeah. No, she needs Pennsylvania, and it comes down to, like... God, it's so insipid how, like, an election just feels so decided by... Well, I mean, Trump might win the popular vote, too, but... we're, like, literally just watching Philadelphia and be like, Philadelphia, what are you doing? What are you doing, Philadelphia? Philadelphia, what's up? Where you going, Philly? Where are you going? I mean, they're coming in for Philly. And... I mean, there's just not enough... Wait, Philadelphia is 92% in now. Did we not refresh? Yeah, there's no way. She can't recover 190. With Philly 92% in? That's impossible. Alright, so... If we give Trump 19 more votes, he's up to 265. So anything on top of this, and we're going to call it. My perception of Trump is that he's a definitive maverick in the best and worst ways simultaneously, which is why he works as a candidate. Interesting. Trump is already celebrating. I knew he was going to celebrate either way. Would it be crazy if Dems lost Michigan? They might. I think BB going hard in the paint at the very end here doesn't help with Michigan. New York Times greater than 95% to Trump. Why are people already celebrating? Everything is gray AF. Just for clarity, Pennsylvania really looks like it's going to go Trump. If it goes Trump, Trump has 265. He needs 270 to win. Kamala would have to clean sweep everything when she's behind in Nevada, although Nevada only has 70% of the votes counted. She can't lose Nevada. She can't lose Arizona, which she's behind in. She can't lose Wisconsin, which she's behind in. She can't lose Michigan, which she's behind in. I think she's ahead of Minnesota, yeah. So she has to clean... if Pennsylvania goes, she has to clean sweep everything else. And that's why people are acting like Trump already won, because I don't think mathematically she can make up this difference of 190,000. Because the places that are proportionally most Kamala-oriented have now been they've been counted too much. She can make like a couple tens of thousands of here and here, but like all the other districts that she is winning in have been counted too much already. Or just aren't a lot of votes. Such that there's just not a way for her to make up the difference in Pennsylvania, so... Don't get me wrong, if he's such a thing, because I'm Latin American, but it's not a single man that will ruin an empire. That said, I don't want to harm any U.S. people. Me neither. I guess that's like the whole narrative on identity issues. It's more about how the narrative was won over other aspects. Yeah. Walt's lost his home state. Yeah. Or is losing. Hasn't lost yet. Blue Wall's getting a new paint job. The truth hurts. She's looking bad in pretty much every swing state. Yeah, so like, this looking unwinnable on top of losing currently in every other state, which to be fair, I mean, she could just sweep everything else, but that's the only way. By the way, what side is this? This is BBC. Is it too late to switch sides to the rebellion? I am the Senate. Yeah, basically. Next 4 years is going to be spicy. We'll see. He must abdicate to the revolt, auto-pass parliamentary republic. Can you imagine? I hope, at this point, if Trump wins, I hope he wins by a really fat margin. I do not want faithless elector nonsense. I think that would be really bad for America in either direction, and so I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I think faithless electors are stupid as really stupid, like extra stupid. But Trump actually pulling off his hidden agenda to enact a parliament by abdicating to the revolt. Can you imagine if Trump gets into office and he's like, we're switching to a parliament, boys. After saying, day one, I'm going to be a dictator. Day one, he's just like, we're parliament now, boys. I'm giving it up. That would be the wildest timeline. Yeah, I mean, winning Minnesota, but that's it. Waltz will win his home state, but not by the margin probably he wanted. He's Wisconsin, right? I can't remember if he's Wisconsin or Michigan. It's not looking good. 90% in and a 4% thing. I know he won, but honestly, I don't understand that how. I think if you're completely at a loss for how this can happen, as a liberal, you should consume. You're probably in an echo chamber of some sort. And I'm saying this as a liberal who like disagrees and thinks that Kamala should have won and voted for Kamala. I think that you should try and reach out and understand the other perspective better. Was there any faithless electors? We'll find out. Were there in history? Yes, there have been faithless electors. I think there was one in 2016. But never has an election been decided by a faithless elector. That's like specifically what I wanted to avoid. Joe should resign from office to quickly switch to a autocracy and then cancel the election. Based. Trump and I, except I the part of liking democracy is like still going along with like it when you lose. So this is just this super swimming in. He's North Dakotan, but I assume they meant Minnesota. Oh, I'm all mixed up. It's more as a foreigner. I'm not an American. Yeah, this is looking pretty red. This is not what I was expecting. Joe Biden is the greatest president of the 21st century. I don't know. I think that probably goes to Obama. Don't really feel super happy with it being Obama either, though, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I just think it goes to Obama. Release CSAF's puppet, problem solved? Dude, you figured it out. Text it. Let him secede from the Union. Did Cruz win? Cruz is a senator, right? I'm not misremembering it. Yeah. Cruz did win. Biden did his bit to make Kamala lose. You're saying the garbage comment? I don't think that's the reason Kamala lost. How real are the Republican claims of massive inflation over Biden's term? I mean, inflation was incredibly high over the course of Biden's presidency, yeah. The like question or like the counter argument is that they're relatively high like to the baseline inflation rate of the US over most of time, which has been like 2%. They're not high if you compare the U.S. to the other G8 countries, who are all experiencing inflation as a result of like fallout over COVID. But you could also argue that it's not appropriate to compare the U.S. to G8 countries. I don't know where you'd think the baseline should be then in order to judge how good a job that Biden's done. I know that economists post-2008 disaster thought that there should have been more stimulus. The problem is stimulus causes inflation. Also, one of the fiscal policy tools that you can implement in order to stimulate the economy is reducing interest rates. The Fed, under Trump, and I don't know to what degree Trump was responsible for this, but under Trump, even when things were going well, they reduced the interest rate to basically zero, which removes fiscal policy as a method of stimulating the economy. So they couldn't, once the kind of recession from COVID started hitting, they couldn't then reduce interest rates because they were already 0%. So, like, yeah. Most surprising comeback ever. Yeah, if Kamala wins, or you talk about Trump winning. Release California's independent nation. No more of this close election nonsense. We did elect the governor that one time. Like, post-COVID inflation, I think the entire world is suffering and nobody's surviving that. I agree, but if you're just looking for information to blame the Democrats, you don't have to look further. And like there's a tendency to not continue to dig for information, and this is true of both sides. Like for stuff you're going to condemn Trump for and this type of stuff, the Democrats don't dig deeper once they find a reason to blame Trump for something. As a European, I'm not very amused. Yeah, the news is slightly more funny than in the next 4 years, but the news will be slightly more funny. Yeah, NATO might be gone, but the news will be funnier. We'll see. I think... I mean, I definitely think it's above 10% that Trump's going to try and leave NATO. We'll see if he's successful. The inflation is worldwide, not just in the US. Yeah, basically. But the question is did Biden overperform or underperform relative to what it would have been without Biden? Biden is bitter about getting polls for Kamala. Yeah, I don't think Biden would have done any better here. Biden was getting shellacked. When he remembers. Oof. Instead of new political drama, people chose season 2 of the sitcom. To be fair, the first season got really good ratings. Yeah, we got 94% in here. I mean, we might be getting close to calling it ourselves, boys. There's like a pissest chance in hell right now, but yeah. Trump just became Muslim and said interest is haram. It's fine. No worries. I expected inflation would sink the Dems. Yeah, I mean, I expected the decrease in buying power would sink them. Well, no, I expected Kamala to win, but like, I think that the Republicans had a very strong advantage on the economics. Trump focused on the issues voters cared for. Dems focused on identity politics and being anti-Trump. I kind of disagree with that evaluation in terms of if you watch Trump's speaking engagements versus Kamala, like Trump is just like mudslinging the whole time, very nearly. And like Kamala talked about issues more specifically more often. Just the Republicans had the winning issue, which is that buying power has gone down over the past 4 years. As a Brazilian, I'm worried how that will boost the crazy far right around here. Yeah, I don't know. Boost. It's outside the scope of my expertise here. What's the popular vote looking like? 51% Trump here. Man, Trump was acting like such a sourpuss going into this election, too. I bet he's really happy right now. I haven't seen any video. Literally, all Trump does is insult people rather than talk about issues. This is my perspective, having actually watched Trump talk and watched Kamala talk. That's good stuff. We're gonna be up all night with this caffeine. Just thinking about where it all went wrong. Oh, chat. Chat. I don't have the answers, chat. This is, concept of a plan. Basically. I mean, the Democrats were running on to some extent, at least I'm not Trump issue. To a large extent, let's say. And Republicans were running on the, are you better than you were 4 years ago? And man, both of those are real good issues. It looks like the are you better than you were 4 years ago. Kamala won't speak until tomorrow. I think she'll speak when it's like impossible for her to win, which I don't think it's at this point yet. But I mean, it's like, it's at a point where we're like, I don't know when they stop counting here, but if Kamala loses like basically any two of these remaining ones, she's cooked. Well, no, she can lose like Nevada and another small one, basically. Nevada and one of the tenors. Oh, Nevada and I think any one of them, except for she can't lose Nevada and Pennsylvania specifically. So that means she can't lose Pennsylvania and any other. So she has to clean sweep if she loses Pennsylvania. If you believe my government, if Trump wins, we are toast. If believe my government, and for me, time to move to Mongolia. Where do you live now? Maybe make a bingo card with all the Trump decisions you expect over the course of his term. Maybe start censoring myself if I have to worry about autocratic retaliation. Also worried about Trump policy regarding Taiwan. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know where Trump is on Taiwan. Former president tried to articulate a coup, but quite a few figures backed down as the U.S. recognized the results of the election and was implied they would not back any coup nonsense. Yeah, Trump might be a little bit more pro-coup. To be fair, Donald's lead in here is smaller than it was with 93% counted. Is this actually possible? No shot, right? I mean, these are the two districts that don't have a lot of counting, right? Is it actually? Can she pull it off? Someone earlier was saying that this place just, like, very strongly went for Kamala, or sorry, Biden a few years ago, and that it flipped is, like, very indicative of a problem. Like, this place is not counted that much, and it swings to, yeah. She's already gone home. Rally ended like an hour or two ago. Oof. I'm not Trump seems to be a very reasonable point to make, especially when the choice is up between two people. I don't get why Americans care about Taiwan when 90% of the advanced microchips come... They do care about Taiwan. At least at, like, the the politician level, they care about Taiwan a lot. Maybe not the average person, because they don't identify with Taiwan, but... Also, they're trying to move a lot of those chip jobs to the U.S. to shore up that kind of weakness. Well, I was waiting for the result, but I think we already have one, kind of. Just for the record, I say it's not lost because of the narrative, but it's based on historical materialism of Latin America, like Pinochet. The 21-year dictatorship in Brazil and other examples. Yeah, I mean, technically, very technically, I think Kamala can still win, but this looks just like... This looks a bit much to overcome. I mean, this is not my area of expertise, looking at these numbers and reading the bones of Kamala's candidacy, but I think that they are probably bones, yeah? So... This went to Biden, Biden, Biden. Yeah, everything else went to Biden last time. That's remaining on the map. MSNBC melting down. We'll have to watch MSNBC before we go to bed. I live slightly higher than Mongolia. So is that that's in Russia then, right? See you later, I loves. Saw a video where Kamala pretended to talk on the phone, then showed that she had her camera app open. That's cute. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I imagine when you run for president and you lose, that's probably the worst day of your life for most people. Feels like only swing state voters count. That is exactly what it is. Kind of hate that. Yeah, basically, if you weren't in these 7 states... No! Not docs my email. Fuck, man. If you don't live in one of those 7 states, you're kind of screwed. God, I don't want to delete this VOD either. I guess Europe's now in deep trouble. Yeah. At least a chance for Europe to wake up. The Dems lose all the swing states. They haven't won one of them yet. The swing states are kind of all undecided. Ukraine is screwed, yeah. New York Times giving over 95%. I mean, at this point, I think that it is that way. In Australia, we have one singular election spectator commentator at ABC that we trust implicitly. He's like national icon. Interesting. No editing of VODs. I think I could clip it out. Quick, play some copyrighted music, basically. Maybe I can cut it out. We could say it's a... We know about how long it is in there. I don't think it's that big a deal. I know I show it in other videos. So... We could just come back and try and do it. But... It is annoying. How long until the vote count's over? Technically, it's going to continue for some time. Because they're still got to count, like, mail-ins. But, like, if someone calls... Pennsylvania, I think, is kind of callable, so we're just kind of waiting until something else looks just, like, completely unwinnable for Kamala. And I think the next one's probably going to be Wisconsin here, right? I guess let's take a look. It's pure... the places that Kamala's winning, is there any place where she's winning by a large margin and a lot of the votes have not been counted? And if the answer to that's no, then it's Jover. So it looks like she can pick up maybe 70,000, 80,000 votes here. But I think that's it. I voted, that's all I can do, basically. Fox News called it, yeah. Took a screenshot so I could post to 4chan, not like this. Hey guys, the streamer voted for Kamala, and do what you guys do best. Jesus. Ruined. Hope Trump does a good job, but fuck me if I don't doubt it. Yeah, Fox called Trump. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't see how... Wisconsin and Pennsylvania seem like, I don't see how Kamala wins these. I mean, she covered a little bit of ground, but I don't know... They're starting to call it. Stop the count. Count the stop. Steal the stop. Copium canisters en route. Yeah. No, this is just democracy, baby. If you only like it when your side wins, then you're not really democratic. I hope Dems really got in the illegals vote. Turns out Trump lied. No, I mean, I don't think there's voter fraud. That's funny as hell, though. Yeah, I mean, I think, maybe let's check Reddit. People's gonna be pissed on Reddit. You can count on it. Just gotta make sure we don't play any copyrighted music on this thing. Oh, there's the election. Dashcam. Trump supporters in Alabama vandalized a vehicle with Paris Walt sticker. That's deplorable. In retrospect, Harris made the right call not to be reviewed by GRE. He endorsed Trump. Joe Rogan finally comes out as conservative. Stein wins North Carolina governor's race. Oh, that's not Jill Stein. Interesting shirt. We'll allow it. This is hilarious. Even at this point, Trump has quite a big lead, surprisingly. Yeah, I don't think that this is... How much do you think it is down to sexism or association with Biden's administration? I mean, the Democrats' buying power just decreased dramatically under the Democrats. I don't think... I think if Kamala was just a different Democrat, it still would have been, like, a super uphill battle for her. I don't know if she necessarily... it's due to her. Breakup due to election. You love to see it. The relationship drama, classic Reddit. Republican mega donor dies. Okay. The MAGA black Nazi lost his job. Nice. We can take that. Not as many voting things as I would have thought. Maybe we gotta wait for it till tomorrow to see really the election ones. Our politics. We're not gonna jump in. We don't know what we're gonna see. We're gonna see some madness on Reddit if we jump in on one of these things. Military endorses your opponent. The truth hurts. I guess it's not over, is it? Is it really game over? Yeah. If not so over, is it? Racism, sexism definitely plays a role. Let Reddit cook. There's Kornacki.
Erie County up here. This is a crucial swing county. It goes Trump in 2016, narrowly back to Biden in 2020. Now I want to go in even further than that.
We stand Kornacki
this
around
is
here.
Mill Creek Township, District 2. Polls are showing momentum toward Harris in areas like this, but to really understand what's going on, let's go even closer, zoom in a little bit more, right here, right here. This is 114 Hilltop Lane. Now I want to take us inside the bedroom here. Bear with me. There we go.
What the fuck are we watching?
This is Nick Camden, 37-year-old registered independent. He goes Hillary in 2016, Trump in 2020. Which way is he going to go in 2024? Really hard to say at this point. It's pretty early.
Leave Nick Camden alone.
And Jason, what are you seeing inside this person that might indicate movement one way?
No, don't
so
zoom in inside him.
Ordinary Rust Belt body.
Don't go inside him.
Predominantly white. It's got the lungs. It's got the vascular system, the heart. But I actually want to show you what's in here. This is the neocortex and the amygdala. These are areas of the brain responsible for regulating emotion and memory.
What the
so
fuck
let's
am I
couple of
watching?
scenarios here. If, for example, this man remembers his
I thought we
grandmother
liked Kornacki.
at the
Is this
time
not Kornacki?
Al Gore rally in
This is
1999,
Jason. This
feel
can't be
good about that?
Kornacki.
That's a win for the Democrats. On the other hand, take a look at this. This is the area of the brain that's associated with social
That's the
interaction
onion?
groups, and we've
You're
seen
right.
it light up when
Thank
Nick goes
you.
out for beers.
Thank you.
With his Trump-supporting coworkers. So we're looking at really a thin margin.
This is the
here.
onion.
I'm gonna show you
Reddit is
something.
cooking.
Let's come back out. Let's go past the rib cage, past the lungs, past
Reddit
the heart,
is cooking.
past the tumor. Healthcare going to be a really big issue in this election, obviously. Past the DNA to what we're calling the source, the origin of life, existence itself, where all of humanity's answers can be found.
And can we zoom in further than that?
No. Because I'm scared. But what we can do is we can actually zoom out here, out of the DNA, out of Nick Camden, out of Erie, Pennsylvania, out of the solar system to the edges of our cosmos, where we see ultimately how meaningless this whole race really is and how insignificant all of our tiny little lives really are.
That is a big map. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, it is the onion. Bomb threats across multiple states traced to Russian email domains. Yeah. Not a fan of the Russia interference to increase partisanship. I'm not saying I think Trump won because of Russia. I don't think that's the case. But I think that they're making us more partisan and bomb threats. Harris wins Virginia. The one that makes the one state winning that makes the page is like this.
Today we're seeing new video just released by...
Alright, what is this? Holds woman down in fire ant pile. Classic, please. Or classic what makes front page of Reddit in regards to police. Not as much politics stuff as we were expecting here. CNN is calling Oregon only a lean victory. Interesting. Countries with compulsory voting. I wouldn't mind compulsory voting. Trump says this will be his last campaign. Ominous. I won't need to run the next time around. Do not panic during the first part of the evening. Alright, we are told not to panic. I think we're past the first part, but rural counties report first because they have fewer votes to count and tend to lean Republican. Okay. Democratic tends to come later in the evening. Okay. Keep Kamala and carry on the law. I don't know, my guy. Kind of told myself I'd unsub and or block all American content creators if Trump won, similar to what I did with Russians. That is an interesting one. To what extent are content creators responsible for the electoral outcome? Like, is that a punishment thing, or is that a... What is that? I mean, block if you have to, my god. Trump has literally said his supporters don't need to vote anymore after this election. True. Give him some copium, the strong stuff. I think he might need the strong stuff. I think Tristan... I mean, this was 4 hours ago. But, this was perhaps early in the evening. Tristan's coming to the now. Welcome to the power of now, Tristan. Where, you're getting cooked in Wisconsin, too. Maybe they'll find 100k votes in the back room for Kamala. Let's hope it doesn't happen like that. Actually, the percentage say it's still 350k voters left to vote in Pennsylvania. Right. But Kamala needs 170. Wait, there's 350k voters? I mean, Kamala needs to be plus 190k on that. Right? So you have to do 350 minus 190. So that's 160. So Trump has to get 80k. And she has to get 270k. So she has to win 75% of the remaining votes to swing it. Still, yeah, theoretically possible. What happened to Americans? They gone crazy? That's our secret, Cap. We always are crazy. One of the reasons I don't like compulsory voting is that it lowers the bar candidates' need to reach to get your vote. You don't need to convince them to go out and do it. Yeah, but it also tends to make things a little bit more moderate. Like, currently, people on the polls vote at a higher rate than people in the center. Kamala needs to beat Trump by 50%. Out of the remaining votes, she needs to win... she needs to... Yeah, she needs a, 50% margin to win Pennsylvania. Includes absentee votes, right? I think so. NBC called PA. So, there we go. PA has been called by BBC as well. Leaving one more state. I'll pretend my favorite Americans are Canadians. I mean, if some of them are honest about leaving, they might become Canadian. Unlikely, given the most in-person votes are Trump voters and mail-ins in Kamala. It's Jover, it's Biden. It might be Biden. It might be, folks. It's looking bad with Pennsylvania. Gone. It's looking bad for Kamala. Good for Reddit. Reddit's gonna cook. Reddit is gonna cook. F. Rodriguez, thank you for the follow. Big nice. Reddit is gonna cook. Giuliani votes in a Mercedes he was supposed to give away.
Bro.
Well, he's gonna get forgiven for all that stuff. We get the classic bad economy during every conservative post. Yeah, not very many of these are by the election, man. Except for this one. This one perhaps captures it. So it's time to get back to Victory. It might be time to... I've been streaming for like 14 hours now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Talking for 14 hours, I know that this is something that most of you guys probably don't have. Talking for 14 hours is a little bit tiring. Like my mouth is all dry. Just had state elections and it's compulsory full preferential, which means you gotta number every candidate. It's good for voter power, but voter literacy is a problem. Yeah. And Trump wins 269 because of how the House runoff works. That's right. I don't think there's anything left on the table that's for electoral votes, though. He just needs one more thing. It doesn't matter which. And he's leading Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona. Arizona is still coin flippy, but... I mean, look how many points he's leading Nevada in, right? Is Nevada even possible? Gotta pick up 100,000 votes. Is this even possible? This doesn't look possible. I guess it's time to play Dungeon Master. It might be. Go to bed, it's already over. Let's do 0.93 times, oh wait, 720 plus 621. And then we gotta do divided by 93 times 7. So there are 100,000 outstanding votes, right? Kivik Dende, thank you for the 50 NOK. What is that? What currency is that? Interesting. Thank you for the stream. You're very welcome. Thank you for the donut. You have so many advantages that I'm not really worried about it. It's just sad Ukraine is going to pay the price. Yeah, Ukraine is dusted. Nevada's over. Kamala needs 100% of the vote in Nevada somehow, which I don't know how that happens. He just needs Pennsylvania plus Alaska. Oh, I didn't even realize Alaska would do it. You're right. Alaska's worth 3 votes. No, Alaska wouldn't be enough, but it looks like he has Nevada. Time to make America great again. Basically. Norwegian krone. Gotcha. Hopefully I pronounced your name okay. Just satisfied that Glue Drinker Production is on the case about making America great again. Maybe a Canadian wall this time. Maybe that is my favorite when someone's complaining about, or something I like to do when I'm feeling like trolling and someone's complaining about immigrants. I just go along with them for a little bit, make them think I'm on their side, and then I go, yeah, man, those, and not mention Mexicans once. This is the key part. I'm not complaining about Mexicans, and then just eventually, you know, after several lines, just be like, yeah, man, I just hate those fucking Canadians. They're coming over the border and they're stealing our jobs. Every time, it's just like, you get the look like you just shit in their milk because they realize you're making fun of them for hating Mexicans, basically. Because nobody, I've never in my life heard one person ever complain about Canadians stealing jobs. How could a humble garbage protector become president? Who knows? Perhaps he was handsome and humble enough. How are things going? It looks like it's impossible for Kamala to win because she needs to recover 100,000 votes here, and there's only about 100,000 votes outstanding. So, I don't think there's a way for Kamala to win, and enough states have been called, unless Pennsylvania was just called prematurely by BBC, which I don't think BBC is calling stuff preemies. The 6 votes of Nevada will push Trump over the 270. It's 11 p.m. Why are ballots still arriving to Detroit's Bureau of Elections via cars with California plates? Oh man, not like this. You guys have already won. Stop, stop. Her candidacy's already dead. This is a complaint of Canadians. I'm deeply hurt for being Canadian. I apologize. I don't actually hate the Canadians. I'm just trying to highlight. I'm just trying to highlight that they don't actually care about immigration. They care about Mexicans. 266 number isn't accounting Alaska's 3, and he's basically guaranteed in Maine. Oh, that's right. I forget Maine splits. Maine does the splitty thing. So he gets 1 from Maine and 3 from Alaska. So even without Nevada, it's still cooked. Tariffs are going to be bad things. Yeah, we'll see if the tariffs get implemented. If it is, it'll be apocalyptic. I don't think it goes through, though. I'm ready for the $2 gas. I would be, too. It'll be interesting to see how he gets $2 gas with 25% tariffs, but we'll see. Simpsons predicted it. How could she lose? How could she lose? It's Jover. Let's refresh Reddit one last time here, eh?
Use Loom Video to capture your message
like
clearly every time.
Bro.
Record your great ideas once and share them forever. All you have to do is hit record. Try Loom for free today.
Not like this. Yeah. Front page of Reddit. Very, very amusing. Oh, what? It changed. So the front page of Reddit was someone's like, I'm having a panic attack right now. Trump files first election lawsuit 16 hours ago. Trump says the election was stolen. You heard it here. But, man, the panic attack one was really nice. I wish that the thing didn't... Damn, that was so funny when it was like the number 1 post was, I'm having a panic attack right now. It's funny to see all these from like 13 hours ago, though. All you have to do is hit record. He's likely to ignore everything he said about tariffs and just get votes. Yeah, he can add tariffs via executive order. Yeah, if he adds 25% tariff, that's actually just going to cook the global economy, but I don't think that he does actually add it. That's not an egg, that's a leg. They rhyme, though. But, yeah, we're not getting any more. We're not going to get any more laughs from Reddit. And, I think it's just a matter of time before they call Nevada. I don't understand why they haven't called it already. Oh, he's only got 50K lead now. Wait, what? So Nevada could go blue now? But Alaska and Maine. Stop the count. Yeah, Redditors, we have lost, basically. Trump lawsuit case is a recount, and they discover that Russia inflected the election vote fraud. How funny would that be if the Trump lawsuits go through, and then they prove that he didn't win the election? Generally streaming when I wake up. Must be really late for you guys in America. It is 11 p.m. We've been going since 9:30 this morning for the election day special. Here comes 110% votes in Nevada, basically. I mean, like, we're just in the what is it? The 6 stages of grief. We'll get through them pretty quick. We definitely wanted Kamala to win here, but let's see. God, so many freaking. I want the Wikipedia article, not a insipid blog post. Kubler-Ross. All right, 5 stages. Let's see. Denial. Maybe Kamala can still win. Maybe she can do it somehow. You know? Let's, you know. No. This is... She's got a chance. We passed this one a while ago. Anger. To be fair, I don't think we lost our chill at any point in time. But maybe we did. Let's assume we got angry. Maybe we did get angry. Bargaining. No, but, like, if she gets exactly this percentage here, there's just enough votes. There's just enough votes. We can do it. Surprised about North Carolina? You have 3 hours to give Alaska back to Russia. Not like this. What happens if they overturn the election because of one of Trump's things? That would be... People would be really upset. Can you imagine the Democrats being like, you know what, you were right, guys. The election was rigged. Where's the coping? Then depression. We're sad Kamala lost. This is a coping mechanism right here. It's the 5 stages of grief. And then finally acceptance. Where we say, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. You know? Chat. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it. Wow, and we somehow have the most viewers that we've had right now. I was just gonna end the stream on it's gonna be okay, but it feels wrong to end it because we have so many viewers. We didn't lose, we immediately failed to win. The anger kicked in when Biden took so long to drop. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe that's where the anger was. The denial was we can win the election when Biden was still in, and the anger was why is this idiot still in the race here? But you know what, boys? You know what, boys? It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.